This was the sky last week in Los Angeles, California. Now, they hadn't been spraying chemicals in the sky since the fire, but this day they went absolutely nuts, and the next day it rained. Now, this is from today, February 2nd. I came outside and had these two streaks in the sky. It's 3 in the afternoon, and it went from being sunny to now it looks like the mysterious fog is back, that you can't even hardly see ahead. It's crazy. It's so dense. Here's my theory on why I think they're trying to distract us from everything, because the internet is like a dumpster fire right now. It's just too negative. Remember, we were talking about UAPs and drones a few weeks ago, and we were going to get all this information about it. They're trying to block this information from coming out, and they're throwing every single timeline that they can at us right now to keep us distracted and from thinking about channeling higher dimensional beings. So I want to read this book that came out in 1991. I want to read a chapter here. What your government knows and what they want you to think they know. Your government is a very precarious institution. Your government has possessed the knowledge of anti-gravity since the turn of your century. Back when horses were still trying to pull around carriages with little effect on the environment. There were scientists at the turn of the century who were fully aware of the secrets of a very secret society that understood the alchemy of atomic levels. This society understood magnetism to its fullest degree. They understood E equals MC squared, the squared light reciprocal. And the most brilliant and astute of these people was an entity called Tesla. This ingenious man was part of a society of individuals that were groomed to feed technical knowledge and understanding bit by bit to civilization. This information was fed to allow civilization to evolve technically. You've had such brilliant people who've helped humanity evolve along through the last 2,000 years. The only problem occurs when kings and governments discover such an individual. They confiscate their papers and imprison the individual to bleed them of their knowledge. That terrible process of government intervention and power mongering really hasn't changed. Your government had arrow ships at the turn of the century. They weren't particularly great ones, but they had them. You know, those brothers that were the Wright brothers, the entities who created the conventional bird flying through the sky. It was agreed to allow that discovery to come into effect, the first arrow ship, but this knowledge has been around for a very long time. If you understand matter and antimatter, and if you understand how matter lines cross and how the vortex of matter is created, then you will understand how to impel through anti-gravity. That information has always been here. It's what makes up the cosmos. It's what constitutes this earth. Great minds that have had the secret knowledge have passed it on in legends for years. The governments of your world took more specific interest in this activity during the war with, that is number 2, when the tyrant was in Europe. His legions had developed arrow ships that are similar to the ones that you think you would like to see. These ships were born under the symbol for the zircon, which is the crooked cross. That symbol was supposed to stand for the Illuminati, and the Illuminati, as this tyrant viewed it, was to be the superior race. This was and is a bigoted, enslaving, tyrannical concept. It is prostitution of a greater truth about what the Illuminati really were. The Illuminati was not a white race. They were illuminated people. These illuminated people go back into your history thousands of years. They were the carriers of truth and technology, and it was their job to see through civilization certain amounts of technology, according to the ability of evolution of the collective civilization at the time. When I speak of this particular civilization, let me clarify what I mean. Referencing your Christian understanding of BC and AD, this civilization began 5000 BC and runs through now. Generally speaking, this whole civilization, your civilization, has been very slow in what might be referred to as technical abilities and attributes. The Illuminati was and is an extraordinary group of people who are called the Ancients, and they hold the secrets to all the universe. That information was only given to certain individuals. Tesla gave your government the ability to have anti-gravity. Anti-gravity is achieved on a grid line. Creating a vacuum at 0 degrees creates anti-gravity that can ride a light. Now, that vacuum system, as everyone technically should know, is created with magnets. So the tyrant of the Second War had ships, for he too had gotten a hold of information by making a pledge to the Illuminati that he would take this information and illuminate the world. Instead, what occurs is what happens when truth falls into alignment with one who is not consciously engaged, human being, wears an image. And what unfortunately occurred was the tyrant had a personal need to control the world, to exalt his altered ego, so he had to fall. You do not destroy human beings to gain power, and this entity did in a great measure. Now, your government confiscated very important documents from this tyrant, and they also confiscated great mines from his land in the land of the bear, which is called Russia. These great mines your government confiscated were part of the seed people from the Illuminati, starseeds. They were brought to your country to work on furthering the conquest of gravity. In the early to mid 1900s, your government already had the ability to transmute matter. They had already done several experiments transporting great iron ships from one port to another. They even put this into effect in a battleship which was loaded with armaments and people. Its belly hung with generators that created a magnetic force that created the vacuum, that created 0 degree temperature that would allow to raise the vibratory rate of the whole ship and the crew, transporting them to another place in time. They were successful with it. Unfortunately, the people who were part of this experiment had been locked away and kept, their minds destroyed to keep them from talking. Your government has since developed aeroships. Your government has the capacity to defy gravity. Your government has the capacity to travel in a straight line on an energy line, which they create. And even though that sounds fantastic, their ability is still limited. Your government has capacities, but they don't know. It's still very limited. There's more your government has done. They have gone even further. In an effort to protect their own ships, they have taken and are holding your brother's ships, the ones that have collided and broken into pieces into your stratosphere. They also have the bodies of some of your brothers from another world, bodies that have retrieved from the ships. And through technology and ancient alchemy, they have been able to transmute some of your known metals that make up the base of meteorites. They have learned to transmute certain metals into a lining to better perfect their ships. Your government is very aware that their Earth is under siege and that it is being watched. Your army denies you the factual information regarding such extraordinary beings, and anyone who has ever had interaction with either the government craft or those from another world has invariably been publicly humiliated. Now, why your government want to do this when they are spending all your money trying to create this shuttle rocket, Elon Musk? You must understand the consciousness. They have always successfully controlled you by having you work collectively for some wonderful goal, and this particular promised wonderful goal will be a collective economic merger in space. They will tell you that this will create medicines that will cure cancer and medicines that will cure your AIDS plague. They will tell you that you must work to support their mission because it will allow them to create marvelous synthetics that will make your life sweeter and more comfortable while helping the earth. Whatever it takes, they will tell you. That is how they keep you at work with your back bent. That is how they keep taxing you, bleeding you for your dollars that go into a program that supports all of these people to keep them gainfully employed, which keeps your government in power. Weather modification, mind control, fake news stories, every single thing to keep us distracted because they don't want the nature of our reality to come out. Anybody who's not trying to unite people right now, or anybody who is preaching fear, is either ops or controlled ops. I mean, call it what it is. But ultimately, we all need each other. This has the way we have to activate in this game, and everything's taken us to our highest timeline. But just don't drink the Kool-Aid.